जय राधा कृष्ण जुगल मिलाना विशाखादि सखी गणा नाना रागे गाया प्रिय नरवा सखी जता चमरा ढुलाया जय जय राधा कृष्ण जुगल मिलाना आरती करो भी ललिता आदि सखी गाना श्री राधा माधव पदा सरसिजा से भक्ति विनोदा सखी पादे सुखे भासे जय जय राधा कृष्ण जुगल मिलाना आरती करो वे ललिता आदि सखी गाना जय जय राधा कृष्ण जुगल मिलाना हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Deepa Mataji. Thank you so much. It's such a nice Vaishnava bhajan. So we'll welcome His Grace Gaurchand Gopinath Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Nandas Pranam. Okay. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. Anushya Mataji, Chandrika Mataji,
Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Dhanalakshmi Mataji, Divya Mataji, Gayatri Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Krishnamurti Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji, Sharmila Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Uma Kulkarni Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Vasudha Mataji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining on time. This shows your eagerness to hear Shrimad Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Jaya Radha Madhava.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Happy Ekadashi.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadramaye Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Anantade Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Anantade Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Srila Gurudev Jai Om Vishnu Pada
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
अष्टोत्तर डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की समवेद भक्त वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यां नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna, welcome all of you for the Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya. Today we'll be reading from Shrimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 9th chapter, entitled Answer by Citing the Lord's Version, and text number 19 to 22. Volunteers, please read the Shloka translation purport. One second, who raised the hands? Please, all of you raise your hands. Today is Ekadashi. It's very auspicious to read some shloka. Radhika Mataji, sorry, Anushya Mataji. Read the
Hare
shloka.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Tam Priyamanam Samupastitam Kavim Raja Visarghe Nijasha Sanarhanam Bhabhasaisha Smitaso Shochisagira Priya Priyam Pritamana Kareshtusan. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Anushya Mataji, you continue with the translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada teacher. And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired. And thus, being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and, slightly smiling, addressing him thus. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Read the entire purport, even though I have highlighted in color. Don't worry, but go ahead and complete the entire purport.
Okay, Prabhu. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The creation of the material world is not blind or accidental. The living entities who are ever conditioned or Nitya Baddha are thus given a chance for liberation under the guidance of his own representative like Brahma. The Lord instructs Brahma in Vedic knowledge in order to diffuse this knowledge to the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls are forgetful souls in their relationship with the Lord, and thus a period of creation and the process of dissemination of Vedic knowledge are necessary activities of the Lord. Lord Brahma has a great personality in delivering the conditioned souls, and therefore he is very dear to the Lord. Brahma also does his duty very perfectly, not only by generating the living entities, but also by spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls. The party is called the Brahma Sampradaya, and any member of this party to date is naturally engaged in reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead, back home. The Lord is very much anxious to get back his parts and parcels as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. No one is more dear than one who takes the task of reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead. Anyone, however, preaching the mission of the Lord in the line of the Brahma Sampradaya is always dear to the Lord, and the Lord, being satisfied with such a preacher of the authorized bhakti cult, shakes hands with him in great satisfaction. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Next person, what we're going to do is today we're going to read entire shloka purport, whatever is there, then we will have a class. I request Radhika Mataji to read the shloka and Shobha Mataji to read the translation and purport. Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Tvayaham Toshita Samyag Vedagarbha Shirikshaya Chiram Bhartena Tapasa Dushtoshaha Kuta Yoginam.
Mataji, read the translation. Yeah, sorry, read the translation as well. Purport can be.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Jai. Beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with the pseudo-mystics. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Sorry, I was translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, purport. There are two kinds of penance, one for sense gratification and the other for self-realization. There are many pseudo-mystics who undergo severe penances for their own satisfaction, and there are others who undergo severe penances for the satisfaction of the senses of the Lord. For example, the penances undertaken to discover and sorry, I'm reading the whole, I think so. Is it okay?
Yeah. You're supposed to read the entire thing. Yes.
The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord and not to misuse the knowledge for any other purpose. Those who do not utilize Vedic knowledge for the purpose are known as Kutha yogis or pseudo-transcendentalists who spoil their lives with ulterior motives. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, next is Sudha Mataji and Nirmala Mataji. Sudha Mataji can read the translation in shloka. And, yeah. Text number 21. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Text number 21. Varam varaya bhadram te varesham mati vanchitam brahman shreya parishramaha pumsam darshanavaddihi. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I wish you good luck, O Brahma. You may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benediction as a result of all penances is to see me by realization. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada Ki Jai. The ultimate realization of the Supreme Truth is knowing and seeing face to face the personality of Godhead. Realization of the impersonal Brahman and localized Brahmana, Paramatma features of the personality of Godhead is not ultimate realization. When one realizes the Supreme Lord, one does not struggle hard to perform such penances. The next stage of life is to discharge devotional service to the Lord, just to satisfy him. In other words, one who has realized and seen the Supreme Lord has attained all perfection, because everything is included in that hide perfectional stage. The impersonalities and the pseudo-mystics, however, cannot reach this state. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Vandana and Deepa Mataji. Vandana Mataji can read shloka and translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Manishitanubhavoyam mamalokavalokanam yat upashrutya rahasi sakrasa paramam sapaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. The highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of my abodes. And this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Read the entire purport, Mataji. Deepa Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The highest perfectional stage of life is to know the Lord by actual perception, by the grace of the Lord. This can be attained by everyone who is willing to discharge the act of devotional service to the Lord as enjoined in the revealed scriptures that are standard and accepted by the bona fide acharyas, spiritual masters. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the approved Vedic literature accepted by all great acharyas such as Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Vishwanatha, Baldeva, Siddhant Saraswati, and many others. In that Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna asks that one always be mindful of him, always be his devotee, always worship him only, and always bow down before the Lord. And by doing so, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead, without any doubt. In other places also, the same order is there, that one give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto the Lord without hesitation. And the Lord will give such a devotee all protection. These are the secrets of attaining the highest perfectional stage. Lord Brahma exactly followed these principles without any superiority complex, and thus he attained the highest perfection stage of experiencing the abode of the Lord and the Lord himself with all his paraphernalia. Impersonal realization of the effulgence of the Lord's body is not the highest perfectional stage, nor is the stage of Paramatma realization. The word Manishita is significant. Everyone is falsely or factually proud of his so-called learning. But the Lord says that the highest perfectional stage of learning is to know him and his abode devoid of all illusion. Hare Krishna.
Bhumajnanatimirandasya jnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजादां सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakaanvitam Cha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshadarine Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpataru Besha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनदारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमदे Hare Krishna. I seek all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis assembled here, your blessings. your lotus feet so that today I'll be able to speak something interesting. So, how many of you celebrated Pani Heti? You can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat, yes or no. Or how many of you plan to do that? How many of you? Okay, Divya Mataji says she celebrated. Okay, there are 4 participants raised. So you're raising hand saying that you're all participated. Can you take that? Ramakrishna Prabhu, Vandana Mataji, Madhumadi Mataji, thank you so much. Who else participated? That's all. Panihiti. Okay. Anita Mataji. Yeah, no problem. Where in your congregation and your house or wherever you celebrated. I'm not asking specifically where, but did you all celebrate? Nandini Mataji says, WhatsApp. Okay. I'm asking, have you participated, Nandini Mataji, in the Pani Heti festival? Sovinamai says yes. Okay, no problem. Today we will get into our topic. So this topic is Brahma sees the Lord, and Lord comes forward and shook hands with Brahma, saying, "Hi Brahma, how are you?" Like that. So we will see significance of this episode. Um, how the Lord is meeting the Brahma. So before that, a quick question to all of you. Anybody who raised hands who are not able to read, first priority is given to them, or you can just answer this. Now we see from this highlighted verse, right? The Lord instructs Brahma on Vedic knowledge, right? So this I'm highlighting again. The Lord instructs Brahma in Vedic knowledge in order to diffuse this knowledge to the conditioned soul. So my question is that how did Brahma get this Vedic knowledge? Because the Lord came, shook hands and hi, and he went. He did not sit and instruct him. So how did Brahma get this knowledge?
The flute music.
Okay. Any other answer? Can you elaborate a little bit more, Mataji, on this? What is that flute? Krishna came here, the description is here, Lord comes here, shook hand, Brahma, then he spoke, but he never said he's playing flute. So how do we understand that? That's
Picture
Through
which
self-realization.
yeah, that's the right answer, but you need to elaborate. Okay, anybody else? One is flute. What else? How did Brahma get this knowledge?
So
Because
Brahma received only one word called tapa, right, Prabhu? So with that sound, he started doing penance, right? So since Lord is situated in everybody's heart, so I think through self-realization only he was able to gain knowledge.
okay, that's another answer. What else?
I think he was submissive. Was submissive to hear.
Yeah, submits to hear, but whom did he hear from? Yes, that's the right answer. He was submissive. Unless you are submissive, you're not going to get it. I have to submissive, somebody has to speak, no? Here, who is the speaker? Who is the receiver? Receiver, we know Brahma. Speaker. Somebody says Krishna's float. Somebody says self-realization. What else?
Prabhuji, Super Soul Paramatma speaks like
Speaker
Krishna
is
says in Bhagavad Gita.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he gives the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So with the tapa, he got the super soul. Paramatma spoke to him.
Spoke to him in the heart or in person. Paramatma.
The heart, in the heart.
In the heart. He came directly. Why he didn't speak directly to him? Any other answer? There are more than 5-6 answers. So at least you have told 2 or 3. There are 3 more answers. Okay. no surprise, we will get started. First, we will see, predominantly today I'm going to focus on the theme, how Brahma gets his knowledge of the Vedas. Right? We all know this 4 Vedas, Rikejo, Shama, Dharvana Veda. Krishna spoke as one Veda, but from his 4 mouth of Brahma, this Veda came. So somebody said Krishna was playing flute, and Brahma got it in his heart. So where is the reference for this? In Shrimad Bhagavatam, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 31, and also references to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 8.138 translation and purport. So I would ask you to request you to note down this reference and you read it, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 8.138. There are a lot of information about, talks about, Jiva Goswami talks about even Gayatri Mantra and etc. So in summary, this is the basis on which Brahma is not, there are different times. Every day Brahma wakes up and every day he creates out of his 100 years of life. And once he completes 12 hours, he goes to Nidra for 12 hours. Full pralaya happens. Then next day when he wakes up, except Brahmaloka, everything will be inundated with water. So again, he has to recreate. So next day he would recreate. So he would need the help of Vedas every day. Sometimes he would remember, sometimes he would not remember for various reasons. That's what today we're going to see. And there are different ways in Brahma gets this knowledge of the Vedas. One such instance, what we are currently seeing is that Krishna, you can see, is playing the flute. Through the flute, Brahma is entering into his ears. So let us see what is that in detail by Prabhupada, what is this in words. So can any volunteer can read this entire text, please?
Shall I, Prabhuji?
No, last time who are not spoken, and I think there are
Ramakrishna Prabhu.
Ramakrishna Prabhu.
Sure. In Brahma Samhita, a nice description of the fluid of Krishna is given. When Krishna began to play on his flute, the sound vibration entered into the ear of Brahma as the Vedic mantra Om. This Om is composed of 3 letters, A, U, and M, and it describes our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities by which we can achieve the highest perfection and the actual position of love on the spiritual platform. When Krishna began to play on his flute, the sound vibration entered into the ear of Brahma as the Vedic mantra Om. This Om is composed of 3 letters A, U, and M, and it describes our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities by which we can achieve the highest perfection of love and the actual position of love on the spiritual platform. When the sound vibration of Krishna's flute is expressed through the mouth of Brahma, it becomes Gayatri. Thus, by being influenced by the sound vibration of Krishna's flute, Brahma, the supreme creature and first living entity of this world, of Brahmana, that Brahma was initiated as Brahmana by the flute of Krishna is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here Jiva Goswami and Prabhupada writes in the teachings of Chaitanya, so Lord Chaitanya as well as Madhya Lila, that when Krishna played a flute, the Bija mantra of Vedas, the Om can be separated into A, U, So this is represents our Sambandha, Avideya and Prayojana. What is the Sambandha between the Lord and us? What is the Prayojana? Then how to achieve the love of Godhead. That's in essence the Om letter, which enters into the heart of Brahma. Then when Brahma realizes that Om and he speaks, then he gives the Gayatri mantra. It's called Brahma Gayatri mantra. So whatever the vibration of the Krishna's flute that enters into the Brahma heart, then he becomes initiated by Krishna himself. We come in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So our Acharya is Brahma. We all come from the Brahma's parampara. And so then explains this mantra to all of us, right? So that's the reason here the Lord instructs Brahma Vedic knowledge, because that Vedic knowledge is supposed to be translated to all the living entities. This olden days, the rishis used to be there. They used to hear this Shruti, they are called as Shruti, the Vedas, and they repeat to their disciples. And the disciples, they don't take notes. It's all there in the memory. They're so powerful. Once they hear, they will remember. Then they again recite it. Till Vyasadeva came. Then Vyasadeva segregated all those things and wrote it for the benefit of the human being. That's how when the Brahma, when he came out, he doesn't know anything. Like previously we have seen, he been asked to do tapa. This is what only he heard, and he started meditating. Once Krishna is pleased, his various ways he imparts his Vedic knowledge. Sometimes he plays the flute, sometimes different ways he goes to the Paramatma in the heart, Adi Kaviye. So Krishna would reveal him, and there are various other ways as well. So that's why Prabhupada emphasizing the party is called Brahma Sampradaya. So this not only Brahma is creating the living entity, is also spreading the Krishna consciousness. So he also creates, as well as he want to take all this fallen conditioned soul back to Godhead. So that's why this bhakti cult. And Krishna was so pleased, Brahma, because every time he also preaches, he creates his own disciples, Sampradaya. Madhvacharya comes in the disciplic succession. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Then like that, they're all preached from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Mahaprabhu is happy and he shook his hands. So when we meet elderly people, we say namaste and we bow down to respect them that I'm falling at your feet. Very rarely we shake hands, even though it's Western thing. So, but it is all originally came from Krishna. If somebody is shaking hands, it's all come from Krishna, because Krishna is so pleased with tapa, because he was so submissive, Brahma, and started doing it. That's why he showed the entire dham of Vaikuntha and also shook hands saying, happy, do you want any benediction? That's what the Lordship is asking. So Lord is so pleased and shook hands. But however, the Vaishnava culture, Vaishnava etiquette is that we say namaste or pay obeisances either mentally or fall at their feet. But we don't take too casually like any other sampradaya or any other culture movement, hi bye kind of thing. But this is to have respect towards the Vaishnavas. That's always better. So these are some of the key points we learn from this shloka. Moving on. So again, continuation on the another aspect of it. Somebody said Brahma through heart, in the heart, he has been conveyed the knowledge. Yes, the first shloka of Shrimad Bhagavatam, right? Tene Hridaya Adi Kaviye, right? We read that shloka. So Brahma in the heart, within the heart, he get initiated by Narayana, Lord Vishnu. So he meditates again, the Lord reveals him in the heart. So somebody other than Ramakrishna Prabhu was not read. Can you read this as well, please?
Nandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcast the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving the Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first by Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the heart. Krishna Book 1. The sound of Brahman or Veda was first impregnated into the heart of Brahma, the original learned man, Adi Kavya. How did he become learned? Whenever there is learning, there must be a speaker and the process of hearing. Shrimad Bhagavatam 3.2633, translation and purport. Therefore, the Vedic knowledge, which is known as Shruti, or that which is received by hearing, is also called Apaurusha. Apaurusha means not spoken by any person materially created. It is stated in the beginning of Shrimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hriday. The sound of Brahman or Veda was the first impregnated into the heart of Brahma, the original learned man, Adi Kavai.
So the current Brahma who is there, this is how the Bhagavatam starts. So the flute may be the other day when Brahma was born. So different days, different kalpas, the different pastime happens. So in this kalpa, this is how the Srimad Bhagavatam starts. Tena Hridaya Adi Kave. So he's the one first in the heart. After doing tapa, the Lord revealed. The Lord is also shook hands with him, but it was revealed. The Vedic knowledge was already revealed. So this is all references from Krishna book as well as Shrimad Bhagavatam. Now there are other means also. The Lord has transferred the knowledge time to time. This is Hamsa avatar. So can I request anyone else to read this pastime?
Divya Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Lord Brahma desired to attain the answer to the question that was puzzling him, and thus he fixed his mind on me, the Supreme Lord. At that time, in my form of Hamsa, I became visible to Lord Brahma. Shrimad Bhagavatam 11.13. Lord Brahma himself has no material cause. He is the cause of the creation of all living beings and is the greatest among all the demigods. Yet even Brahma is always suffering agitation of the mind on account of the duties he has to perform. Therefore, when he was questioned by his sons headed by Sanaka, who were born from his mind, about the means for driving away desires for sense gratification, he was incapable of giving them an answer. In order to receive some insight into this matter, he took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereupon the Supreme Lord appeared before him in the form of a swan incarnation, Lord Hamsa. Lord Hamsa proceeded to give instructions about the categorical identity of the self, the different states of consciousness, wakeful, awareness, sleep, and deep sleep, and the means for conquering over material existence. The sages headed by Sanaka became freed from all their doubts by hearing the words of the Lord and worshipped him with pure devotion in mature love of God. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
So there is Bhagavatam's 11th canto, 13th chapter. The title itself, Sanat Kumara is asking question to the Hamsa, incarnation of Hamsa. Some of you don't know what is Hamsa avatar. And so this chapter you can read in 11th canto, 13th chapter. So this Brahma started creating, of course, then the 4 Kumaras born, but they had a lot of questions. So the question was that our sense are connected to the mind. Always senses, the mind always induces the senses to enjoy, and the senses also always very closely connected, and they obey whatever the mind says. Now the Kumaras asking for the fallen conditioned soul, saying that how they are able to overcome this, break this mind and senses. They are very tightly coupled, and they whatever senses says enjoys, the mind enjoys, and the mind whatever says the senses trying to enjoy. So both of them like partner, and it's very difficult to overcome and to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh my dear Father, you are created us. Tell us what is that all about? Because Brahma knows Vedas, then all this answer must be in the Vedas. There is nothing outside in the world, outside the Vedas. Let it be a material education, let it be a spiritual education, anything, everything is there in the Vedas. There is nothing outside, including Dhanur Veda, Atharvana Veda, Ayurveda, you take any, everything is there in the Vedas, including civil engineering, anatomy, numerology, you talk about anything, Jyotisha, everything is there in Vedas. There is nothing outside the Vedas. People need to know. Even those days, people know how to construct a bridge without putting a cement, and now they can construct a bungalows, different kind of bungalows. You can see in Mahabharata story how this demons they were doing it. So all this, everything was there in the Vedas. There is nothing outside. Sometimes you'll think modern world, see, look, they're doing skyscraper buildings and things like that, architecture and things like that. There are so many architecture. Vishwakarma is the greatest architecture. He did this city of Dwarka, which still can be found. Evidence are there. Archaeologists are agreeing with that. So there is, how did Vishwakarma would know how to construct it? We think that everything is modern. We are scientists are identifying, finding it. Forget it. This is all there in the Vedas. The only problem is the Vedas are not accessible. Most of them are lost. That's the only issue we have. But otherwise, everything is there. Now, similarly, Indra, if Brahma would have known all the Vedas, he also should answer these questions. So sometimes Brahma also bewildered by his mind because he has to do so much material activity, and he's also kind of a Jivatatma. So he also sometimes get bewildered during the process of creation. So then he said, better, my sense, I really don't know. This is the honesty, right? If you don't know, you should not speculate. You can directly ask the Lord. So he said, let us ask the Lord. and he would be able to do. So then that time, see, generally what happens is when the devatas goes, when they want to approach Lord Narayana, they can't Kshirshagra, lords will be there, Narayana, you can't just go and approach him directly. The devatas go to the Brahma. That's what we read in the first paragraph. And they go and read the Purusha Shukta. So this time what happened is Krishna wants to take avatar. So demigods, especially Mother Earth, became a cow. And she said, Brahma, I'm not able to tolerate so much sins are happening. Lord needs to come. Brahma said, let's go, all the devatas, let us go to Kshirshagra and pray. So this Kshirshagra is within this material world, one place, but is a spiritual area where the Brahma goes to the shore of the ocean and he prays to this Vishnu. Right? Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. From Shirodakshaya Vishnu, all the avatars comes. Rama, Matsya, Kurma, whatever you name. They all come from this Vishnu. So Brahma, whenever he has a problem, anything, he would go and sit in the ocean along with other devotees, devatas. They sing Purusha. But this time Lord did not respond. So Brahma started meditating on the shore of the ocean, milk ocean. Then the Lord conveyed the knowledge. Then Brahma told all the devatas, Supreme Personality of Godhead is conveyed through my heart that he is going to take avatar as a Krishna. So all of you go and take birth in the Yadavakula and be prepared, ready, wait for Krishna, and Krishna will take avatar. That's why the Krishna book describes beginning of creation. Similarly, when Brahma doesn't know, he would meditate or he would call on the Lord. The Lord comes here as Hamsa. Then he started explaining the entire Vedas again to the 4 Kumaras. So this is one way of passing on Vedas information in the form of Hamsa. They are not permanent avatars, Mogini, Hamsa, they are not permanent eternal avatars. Time, place, circumstances during past time, they appear and they go. There are different incarnations who are permanent. Some incarnations are not permanent like Hamsa and Mogini and all. But the past time they appear and they go. They don't have eternal place in the Vaikuntha, eternal Loka in Vaikuntha or something like that. So this is this pastime. Now how many we completed? How many ways of Brahma gets knowledge? What is the first one? Flute. Second one?
Flute.
Second one?
Heart.
Third one? Hamsa. So now let's see the fourth. Let us see the fourth one. I want volunteers to read this, please.
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please. Those who are not read, give the preference to them.
Hare Krishna. Shrimad Bhagavatam 2.7.11 translation. The Lord appeared as Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, that is Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.6 translation and purport. At the end of the millennium, ignorance personified assumed the form of a demon, stole all the Vedas and took them down to the planet of Rasatala. The Supreme Lord, however, in his form of Hayagriva, retrieved the Vedas and returned them to Lord Brahma when he begged for them. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, whose determination never fails. Although Vedic knowledge is imperishable, within this material world, it is sometimes manifest and sometimes not. When the people of this material world become too absorbed in ignorance, the Vedic knowledge disappears. Lord Hayagriva or Lord Matsya, however, always protects the Vedic knowledge, and in due course of time, it is again distributed through the medium of Lord Brahma. Brahma is the trustworthy representative of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, when he again asked for the treasure of the Vedic knowledge, the Lord fulfilled his desire. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So this another, now the fourth one is we are seeing Hayagriva incarnation, right? So here the pastime is that the demon, ignorance personified, steals the Veda. So my question is to all of you, is it a thing? Is it a book, something like that you steal and take it away? Then Brahma is finding, oh, where is the Vedas? How do I create? So what is your understanding? Here is told, what is told? He stole Vedas, okay? Was that Veda was in the written form? Or what is told?
Veda was not in written form.
It was not in the written form.
Then how can he steal? What did he steal then?
Maybe forgetfulness, something like that.
Sorry, can you speak
Intelligence,
little louder?
Prabhuji. Intelligence.
Intelligence of whom? Brahma.
Forgetfulness.
Prabhuji, with illusory energy that is covered.
Okay. What else?
Whatever remembrance is there, that is covered by the illusion.
But he's
Prabhuji,
not the illusory
Hare
energy.
Krishna.
He's a demon, right? Hmm.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
I think that by the passing of time, the Shruti which was available to everybody in the form of Vedas, the Shruti, that was not getting absorbed because of the reduction in the good deeds and all the good karmas. So that is why it is said that the demon ignorance personified stole away the Vedas, and then Haigriva had to take incarnation and restore goodness. Is that
Okay.
right?
Any other answer? Okay. So I'm not going to answer. This is the homework for you. So you go and find out as a group. You can discuss how did he stole, what did he stole. If it is not written form, whatever interpretation you're given, you can post it, you argue it, and put the conclusion to me later. Okay. Now this is the also there is a pastime in the demon. There's one more version, the same pastime, because there will be always variations. So this end of each kalpa, the demon called Anjanana steals Agnana. So that's what the ignorance, sorry, it was ignorance, the same person. Steals the knowledge and Agriva appears to preserve it. So sometime Brahma feels also like, proud. So then Lord creates this kind of demons to steal them and restore it back so that, Brahma takes it submissively. But how did they stole? What did they stole? That's a homework for you. Now we have seen how many, 4 or 5? How many?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Four,
Brahma
Prabhuji,
stole
four.
the gopas and cowherd boys and cows.
Correct. They were physical. They were there physically, so he took it. But Vedas, what is the physicality he took it? That was the question. Yeah, Brahma did that also. So what was your question? Okay, let's for the time being.
Maybe restricted Brahma to teach Vedas.
Sorry?
Restricting Brahma to teach Vedas, whatever knowledge he acquired from Bhagwan.
Okay, so I told you, right? No, whatever answers you want to discuss, you discuss among self, because I have few more scenarios to cover, few more stories, pastimes to cover. Till how many ways we have how many things we have found out?
4.
4 or 5. Okay, let's go. So what is this one? Who can read it quickly?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At the end of the millennium, it would be Vaishnavas Manu.
Vaivastamanu.
Sorry, bro.
Vaivastamanu.
Sorry, Vaivasata Manu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planet. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas come out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys the vast waters and protects the Vedas. 2.7.12 purport. During one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, and at the end of each Manu, there is a devastation up to the earthly planets, and the vast water is fearful even to Brahma. So, in the beginning of the would be Vaivasata Manu, such a devastation would be seen by him. There would be many other incidents also, such as the killing of the famous Shankashura. This foretelling is by the past experience of Brahmaji, who knew that in the fearful devastation scene, the Vedas would come out of his mouth, out of the out of the Lord in his fish incarnation not only would save all living entity, namely the demigod, animals, men, great sages, but would also save the Vedas at the end of Brahma's day, when Brahma felt sleepy and desired to lie down. The Vedas were emanating from his mouth, and the great demon named Hayagriva stole the Vedic knowledge. 8.24.8. Hare Krishna
Left
Prabhuji,
side
can you
also, Mataji, read the left side also. 5.18.6 purport.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.6 purport. Although Vedic knowledge is imperishable within this material world, it is sometimes manifest and sometimes not. When the people of this material world become too absorbed in ignorance, the Vedic knowledge disappears. Lord Narayana, Lord Hayagriva or Lord Masya, however, always protect the Vedic knowledge, and in due course of time, it is again distributed through the medium of Lord Brahma. Brahma's is a trustworthy representative of the sorry.
So this pastime we all know, Matsya avatar, where the Lord tells the Satyavrata king, the fish becomes small, then he puts in the pond. We all know this story. Then he says, go and collect all the herbs, people, sages, and you bring it, and also Vasuki, because the Vasuki will be tied to the fish, and the fish will take the boat to the safer place in the Pralaya. Meanwhile, Matsya goes to fights with this demon called Hayagriva. Don't confuse with the Lord Hayagriva and this Hayagriva. This is a demon Hayagriva. His name is Hayagriva. I don't know why. So, and basically Brahma, like, fearful of this entire devastation, he also gets fear, and from his mouth the Vedas comes out, and this Hayagriva steals them. So then Matsya goes and kills this demon and brings back and saves the Vedas as well, along with the herbs, rishis, and things like that. For the next, when Satya is over, the Pralaya will happen. After that, Brahma has to create. So then it's all created. So that's a pastime. This is another place where Brahma gets the knowledge from Matsya avatar. However, still, how many we want to read? There are many pastimes. Should we do one more?
Yes, Prabhu.
Volunteers, please. Yes.
Yes,
Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Shrimad Bhagavatam 2.7.11 translation. The Lord appeared as the Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by the Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of this body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the that is all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.3.13 purport. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma was attacked by two demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, but Krishna saved him. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Madhu Kaitaba Antr. Now again, Hiranyakashipu was trying to replace Brahma. The material world is so situated that even the position of Lord Brahma, not to speak of ordinary living entities, is sometimes in danger. Nonetheless, until the time of Hiranyakashipu, no one had tried to replace Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu, however, was such a great demon that he maintained his ambition. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9 summary. Although the entire cosmic manifestation is non-different, the material world is nonetheless different from the spiritual world. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord can one understand how the wonderful material nature acts. For example, although Lord Brahma appeared from the lotus seed that had grown from the abdomen of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, he could not understand what to do after his appearance. He was attacked by the two demons,
Madhu and Kaitapa.
Madhu and Kaitaba, who took away Vedic
knowledge. Vedic knowledge, but the Lord killed them and entrusted to Lord Brahma. So this is another version of Hygriva. I heard this song Vibhavari Sesha Aloka Pravesha. In that it says Madhu Kaitapa killing, as well as the Lord's pastime is sung here. So this is another version of pastimes where Hygriva kills the Madhu and Kaitapa. So they were the two. They also try to steal the Vedas from Brahma, and Hygriva has to come and kill those demons, and they had a special boons that they will not be killed in the water or something like that, and Lord has to kill them between his hands and thighs like that. So there are a lot of boons. Madhu and Kaitapa had a lot of boons as well, that they will not be killed, like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, they had also boons. So the Lord would fight for long, then to try to kill them like that. Like that, there are many pastimes. But in a sense, yes, there are also another version where Brahma would lose this Vedas. Then Madhu and Kaitapa, they come every year. These are the first demons, I guess, before Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. Then after that, I think Madhu Kaitapa, after that Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, like that. So they are the very first demons who come and they steal the things, and Brahma, like clueless, how do I create? Then again Hygriva comes and does that. This is another pastime. So do you want to hear one more, or should we stop here?
Yes, one more, Prabhuji.
One more, Prabhuji.
One more, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, it is not there. So now you have to ask the questions. That's all I had. You are open to all the questions, whatever you want to ask, or we can just quickly review the shlokas once again to understand. We have covered all the parts. So 21 we covered, 22 again. O Brahma, impregnated with Vedas, and again Lord is telling he is happy, I have given you Vedic knowledge. The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord and not misuse the knowledge for any other purpose. That's why these demons were stealing. They will not use it for purpose. That's why he took various avatars. Those who do not utilize the Vedic knowledge for that purpose are known as Utta Yogis or Shudo Transcendentalists. So that's Prabhupada says that Brahma, I'm happy because you are using it for the creative purpose. So he was happy. That was the sloka number 20. 21, let us see what is that Lord is trying to say. He's very happy. He's wishing good luck, all the best. Now we all say all the best, and Lord that time itself told all the best for creation, and any benediction you want, you may ask. So then the Lord says the ultimate benediction for everyone is to know the Lord face to face. One is able to meet the face to face, and there is nothing required. So Prabhupada talks about the impersonalist and the other people who are trying to Ashtanga Yoga to try to achieve the Lord. That is not the best benediction. So Prabhupada says that best benediction is meeting the Lord face to face. The last shloka 22. So Prabhupada says that, what is this shloka? Can anybody guess? In the Bhagavad Gita, Personality of Godhead, Krishna says, what is this shloka? It's a very famous shloka. Always.
Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja Prabhu.
No.
Manmana bhava madbhakto.
Yeah, manmana bhava madbhakto matyaji mam namaskuru. Yeah. Mushisi satyante pratijane prayosime. He says that, bow down, worship, this is a way to go back. Second one is, some other place he says that give up all the engagement, fully surrender to me. This is Sarvadharman Parityaksha. So this is the secret of success, how one can surrender to Krishna. So Lord Brahma did exactly without superiority complex, and thus he attained the perfection stage of experiencing the abode of Lord himself with all paraphernalia. So one thing is that Lord Brahma, even though tapa, it was meditation, don't think it is Ashtanga Yoga. It was a more of a devotional meditation, and the Lord, it was a devotional service. So he accepted the Lord, and the Lord also revealed him, because Brahma would know every time he creates different ways the Lord comes, he knows the glories, he knows the Vedas. So he did meditate on the Lord. Then he gets the Gayatri mantra, then things like that. So the Lord here performed a wonderful austerity for the Lord, meditation on the Lord. If you have done the impersonal Brahman, impersonal meditation or something else, you wouldn't have met Krishna, and Krishna wouldn't be happy and personally come and shook his hand. The Lord commonly personally shook him hands because he knew the personality of God, a personal aspect of the Lord. So similarly, Manmava Bhat Bhakto, the Prabhupada writes commentary that we also need to always remember the Lord, become his devotee, pay obeisances to him, and surrender to him, and meditate always on him. This is importance of the Bhakti Yoga. So again, Acharya's emphasis on the Bhakti Yoga. So it is 10:29. We are on time. So I would stop here for any quick reflection, one or two, then we are done for the day. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Any questions or comments by the devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Here you mentioned, lastly mentioned two slokas. One it is Manmana Bhakto, and another one, Prabhuji.
Sarvadhanman Parityaje Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papepyo Mokshashyami Ma Suchalam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question, not exactly related to today's class, but I was listening to a lecture of Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he was talking about that the only purpose of our life is to make Krishna happy. So I want to know, though we know that like we are chanting, but we know that there are like so many shortcomings in our chanting, in our hearing. But I want to know what exactly makes Krishna very, very pleased and happy. What is it that we can do to make him happy?
Devotional service, Krishna says clearly, right? Manmana Bhava Mat Bhakto. You worship, you become devotee means devotee will always worship Lord. He will sing the Lord's pastime. He will hear Shrimad Bhagavatam. He will do Sankirtan. He would engage. And another thing in Bhagavad Gita, after this Sarvadharman Parityaja, Krishna says that those who preach this knowledge, they are very dear to me. In this purport also Prabhupada talks about in this shloka, one of the shlokas, I don't exactly know. I think it is probably in the first shloka. And he says that those who preach my message also, they are very dear to me. In Bhagavad Gita, this shloka is the 18th chapter after this Sarvadharman Parityaja. So I don't remember the exact verse, but yeah. So there also he says Krishna will be very, very extremely pleased. And of course, you do bhajan, chanting, kirtan, follow the 9 devotional service. Krishna is pleased that you will go back. But if you are helping to others to go back, then anyone, however, preaching mission of the Lord in the line of Brahma Sampradaya is always dear to me, Lord. The more dearest, who is the dearest one? Who takes risk life in spreading the Krishna conscious life, helping, taking others also. Brahma not only was practicing himself bhakti, he created the cult and he was taking everyone for that matter to the Lord. So for those devotees, Krishna is super pleased. He is extremely pleased and he would do whatever required for those devotees.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
In 10th Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter 10, sloka number 10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Prabhuji, in this, I want a little bit clarification in this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Please, little bit explain, Prabhuji.
Krishna here says the intelligence also I only give. Ami Buddhi Yogantam. So based on the devotional service, he reveals, like Brahma, for example, is the exalted Vaishnava. So he reveals the Vedas to in his heart. The intelligence is given by the Lord. So as you progress in the devotional service, spiritual intelligence, there are 2 kinds of intelligence. One is the material intelligence. Another one is spiritual intelligence. The material intelligence is, people, so-called people, IAS or IPS or whoever is in the higher post, they use their material intelligence. In fact, certain extent in Bhagavatam also, a person is not elevated to the level of prema or bhava, still he'll be using his material intelligence to speak Bhagavatam. For example, I'm speaking Bhagavatam. It's not out of spiritual intelligence, it's out of my material intelligence. But when I grow up to the stage of bhava, prema, then the complete intelligence is taken over by the Lord, especially pure Vaishnavas or Acharyas, Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada disciples and Prabhupada. Their intelligence, one question I was today giving Prabhupada Lilamrita, one question was asked, does Guru know everything what we do? Like we are offering in the photo at your house today, somebody said he was listening to Radhanath Maharaj lecture, so you would have offered something to Maharaj. How does Maharaj know that you were offered? Does he know or not? That was the question to Srila Prabhupada. What do you think? Does Guru knows what you offered today to him? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
How does he know? How does he know? You are offering in your house. He's not Krishna. He's not Paramatma. He can't expand. How does he know?
Because he's a representative of Krishna.
So what? So what? Brahma is also representative. Shiva also representative. But how do they know that you are offered here?
The Paramatma of the offerer's heart will communicate to the Paramatma of Guru Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
That is the right answer. So the Guru Maharaj may not know that you have done, but he's a pure soul, and the intelligence is controlled by the Paramatma. So when he sees you, then you would know that you have been practicing it, you've been doing it. The Paramatma would reveal to the soul of that Maharaj. So that way they are not expanded themselves to see what is you're doing it every day, but they would know in the sense Paramatma communicates in there. So that's that spiritual intelligence is given by the Lord. So that's what Tadami Buddhi Yogantam Enamamupatyanti. So we all need to try to progress in Krishna conscious so that we come out of this material intelligence to the platform of spiritual intelligence, which is at the level of Bhava and Prema. Then whatever you speak is 100% truth. Why we reverence, we pray to Guru, why we take the shelter, because whatever they speak is 100% truth, because it is inspired by the spiritual intelligence of Krishna, not by the material intelligence. Sometime I might give class hearing some of their reference. I would have made a lot of mistakes in this class, I am 100% sure. But I pray to Guru and Gauranga that, I'm trying to make a progress, but still if any offense is made, please forgive me. That's what I would pray to them. I would have made a mistake because this is working out of my sheer material intelligence. I might be wrong, but I'm trying to be in the parampara, because if I'm in the parampara, then I would have been correct things I've spoken. If I would have speculated something, then then it is out of my mere intelligence, out of not Krishna, given by Krishna. This is a material intelligence. And thank you, Narayani Mataji. She has given that shloka for the dearest person. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakritamaha bhavita nacha me tasmat anya priyataro bhuvi. So this shloka from Bhagavad Gita tells that those who preach my message is the most dearest one. It is authorized by Krishna himself. So you decide you want to become more dearest or dear or whatever superlative degree you want to become. The superlative degree is preaching this mission.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, in this regard, I have a doubt, Prabhuji, may I ask?
If time permits, you ask Narayani Mataji, but I am done with the session because already 10:40. I have time, but ask Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhu, if you are comfortable, it's okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Prabhuji, in the sloka after Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Krishna says, na Prabhuji, that those who are not in devotional services, then they may not be preached the devotional service, or they may not be preached about Krishna. So how we understand this, Prabhuji? In one place, Krishna is saying that whoever preaches about me to others is very dear to me. So is the right understanding that we should preach only to those people who are devotionally inclined and not everybody else who are not devotional? How do we understand that, Prabhuji?
First of all, how do you know the person is inclined or not?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's what. So how do we understand?
Also, what is one of the offenses? Instructs to her. What is the 9th offense? Chanting of the holy name. To instruct a faithless person about the holy name.
Yes,
now, Prabhu, if I do it, you are telling there is offense. To instruct a faithless person. You are telling also shloka nacha tasman manisheshu kaschit one should preach Krishna consciousness. This is what your question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or not?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So you should wear a special glass. Then you have to see whether he's a devotee or not, should I preach or not.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It is not like that. We go and preach indiscriminately, whoever it is. But if he is not responsive, further we will not proceed. We will not, he's been very offensive or is complete not having faith, then we would keep a distance. We are not at that level of platform where we try to cross the bridge and and preach to them. There are pure souls who can do that. So we know our limitations. First, we don't judge people whether he's a devotee or not. Judging is very, very, very bad habit, including a defect. If it's a non-devotee also, it is a bad. We don't judge people because Mahaprabhu says even one person says one time Hare Krishna, I would have chanted, he is a devotee. So they might have in the core of their heart a love for the Lord. They might practice different ways. So how can you say that he's not a devotee? Most of the time you make a mistake. Only ISKCON devotees select dhoti kurta. They are all pure Vaishnavas. Others are not pure Vaishnavas. No, it is not like that. There are other sampradayas equally pure Vaishnavas, and the process might be all the bona fide four sampradayas. They are all devotees. Sometimes they may not express, they may not wear tilak, but internally they might be praying to the Lord every day, or they might be thinking about the Lord. So they are a devotee. So we can't discriminate externally. We don't have that capability, but we give it a try. We do a mass preaching program. Those who are interested, we take them and further cultivate. Those who are not coming, we try 1 or 2 times. If we think they're too offensive, we will say Hare Krishna and forget it, and we move on to other people that we should adopt. So that will reconcile both. Instruct a faithless person, not to instruct a faithless person. After knowing it, you should not. Before knowing it, you should preach to others. Then you should use this Tasmat Manishyesu. To everyone you should preach.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Dandavad pranams.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So we'll end the class, Prabhu, by doing Vaishnava Pranam, with your permission.
Pancha Kalpatarubhasya, Vipasanandabhyevacha, Paditanam Pavanebhyo. Please discuss these topics. One of the requests, last 1 minute. A lot of questions you have, please post it in the group. You have a discussion, it's a healthy discussion. Don't shy away, because that's where you interact, become your bond closer. You go and refer some books, references, hearing the lectures. Other people also get benefit. Oh, this I never heard. First time you told this. So like that, there need to be a post effect of this class is that, you start discussing or taking some paragraph from this, or there might be another pastime which I may not know, or I would have done wrong. You can correct me saying that, Prabhu, this time you told, how do I understand? This is not there. This did not, Prabhupada did not say this. That's why most of the time I cut and paste what Prabhupada is in the purport, so that I'm always ensure that I'm in the path what Prabhupada says. Sometimes I may have misunderstood. So there are chances that, you need to spend some time in discussing. That's how the knowledge goes deeper into the intelligence. The material intelligence becomes spiritual intelligence. Otherwise, it will remain in the platform of material intelligence. Of course, this is good. It is purifying Bhagavatam, but we should come out of the Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So Krishna wants to attract our intelligence. He wants to control our intelligence. Then we need to do all those things. Thank you very much for your enthusiastic participation so far. Please bring more people. Become dear to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
So much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.
Dandavad pranam.
Wonderful class.
Wonderful
Hare
class,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
very much.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Shall I end the session, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Pranam.